So we had an athlete this weekend that got hit by a car, and she is okay. We had a great group of people there that handled it like champs, but it made me think it might be helpful to put out a quick video about some things to think about if you find yourself in that situation. First of all, no two accidents are going to be the same. They're going to happen fast. You know, they're accidents because we don't expect them. Adrenaline is going to start to rush. So it's never going to be like a textbook situation. You're going to have to make a lot of game time decisions. So these are just some things to think about. The first, there's sort of, three things right at the start. One, is it safe to approach the athlete? Which sounds kind of ridiculous, but the last thing you want to do if you have an athlete on the ground is to step into oncoming traffic yourself. Or, if a power line is down and step on the power line. Whatever the case is, you do need to make sure that it's safe to approach them. You are also evaluating, do you need to call 911? Sometimes you know that right away and sometimes you don't, but that is certainly one of the first questions that you are asking. Third thing is, if you suspect any spinal damage, you are not moving the athlete. You don't move their head, you don't move their limb, you keep them as still as possible, just for the health of their spinal cord. Don't move them. So those three things at first. If you're the first person on, you're making sure it's safe to approach, you're deciding to call 911. If you suspect a spinal injury, you're not touching the athlete. At that point, it's going to depend a little bit on how severe the accident is, how many people are around, where you go from there. But some basic questions are, can you move the athlete and hopefully their bike to safety and out of the elements? Something to keep in mind is that all of a sudden someone who is like exercising vigorously has come to an abrupt halt. So their body's still going to be reeling from that in addition to whatever happened with the accident. So core temperatures might drop. Hydration needs may still be going. Their blood sugar may get weird. And so it's just kind of something to keep an eye on, even outside of everything going on with the accident. Acute care. So, we're not trained doctors. We're not, you don't want to go above what's appropriate, but are there things that could be done in the immediate moment to help an athlete with some kind of with care for whatever's going on? I mean, do they need some bleeding stopped? Is there some road rash you can kind of help clean up? Maybe they just need someone to, keep talking to them and help keep them calm. So comfort and care, without doing anything that's inappropriate in terms of, your skill level. And you want someone to stay with that athlete. Even if they seem okay, don't leave the athlete alone. At that point, if you can delegate, is there somebody who could deal with calling the athlete's emergency contact person, and or dealing with the 911 call as they come in, so that you have one person who's just tending to the athlete, somebody else who's dealing with maybe the phone calls that need to happen. If a car was involved, can you, and they stopped, which they don't always do, but can you get the name, contact information, and insurance information of the driver? You can use your phone, take a quick snapshot of that, which hopefully they will provide. It's also can be helpful to take pictures of the scene in general. Just, take pictures of the license plate of the car, take a picture of the bike, of the athlete, just more information. It may be that you call the police, because filing a police report is often helpful with insurance claims, and anything you can do to minimize the financial damage that an athlete's going to have to deal with is fantastic, in addition to all the other stuff. So calling the police, managing that. So at that point, you've kind of gotten the athlete, you're managing that, you've got their their emergency contact information and handling kind of where they're headed next. Or is there emergency contact coming to get them? Are they going with the ambulance? Like, where is the athlete headed and are they cared for? You've kind of checked out the scene, you've gotten their bike out of the way, you've maybe dealt with the driver, that kind of stuff. And then, you're kind of then at that point moving on. So now we have the athlete's bike. You probably have a car that they drove to the start of the ride. And so is there someone who can figure out, how do you get the bike back to the athlete? How do you retrieve the athlete's car? Where are the athlete's car keys? That's something that can be super helpful. And then at some point, writing down what you remember, which is just kind of a helpful thing to do. As an aside note, I have found after years of doing this in my car, in my trunk, if you know what my car looks like, it will not surprise you that there is all of this stuff in it. But I find that it's helpful to keep a couple towels that I don't mind getting dirty. That can help if an athlete's core temperature starts to drop, you have something to wrap them in. Certainly you can start cleaning them up, or if you need, if they need some kind of pressure and towel to stop some bleeding, If they just want to sit on it, it's very helpful to have a couple towels. A large plastic garbage bag is great, especially if you have an accident, kind of where stuff is sprawled out, and it's dirty, and you want to make sure you're keeping it all together. All those little pieces that can fall off bikes or whatever. So just, you can put it all in the garbage bag. It's all in one place. It's not in something that's going to get ruined. It's also going to protect your car. Easy to hand off to whoever's going to take it for the athlete. A basic first aid kit is a fantastic little gem to have in your trunk. You can order them off Amazon for $20 to $25. Super easy. And then Clorox wipes, not for the athlete wounds. You're not going to drink or ingest the Clorox wipes for any reason. But once everything's kind of over and you're sticky and stressed and, all gross, it's nice to just have something to be able to wipe your hands off with. Maybe you need to wipe your car down a little bit. So I just keep a box of Clorox wipes just for that reason. So stay safe out there. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. And I put this on the website. There's a link down in the YouTube box. So if you want to print this off, take it with you by all means. Thanks.